Avatar: The Last Airbender has released, which means that today we're playing Boomerang Basics in what might be the best shell for it in Legacy. Let's go check it out. In front of you is a Epic Gamble / Artist Talent hybrid that we're playing today as a donation deck from community member Pizza, who's a member of our Combo Cabal. With that tier, you get 1 hour of coaching every month, but you also get a free donation deck, and Pizza's cashing that in to see Boomerang Basics from Avatar: The Last Airbender in this deck, and I think it might be the best shell for Boomerang Basics. Well, what is this new card? So for 1 blue, you have a sorcery that's also a lesson. The lesson part doesn't matter in this deck because we're not playing any learn cards. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If you control that permanent, draw a card. So this is the best repeal ever printed because it can bounce anything no matter the mana value, but it's a sorcery, which is actually an upside here because we're a Burning Wish deck. So you can Burning Wish for the Boomerang Basics if you need to answer a problematic permanent. Why it's so good is that you could bounce your own Mox Opal and then draw a card if you don't need to bounce a permanent, unlike something like Chain of Vapor or Into the Flood Maw. Okay, so you can bounce your own permanent, you draw a card, you replay it, there's no lost mana. It's just basically free draw card. Okay, well in this deck, Boomerang Basics also triggers Artist Talent. Okay, so that means when you replay your Mox Opal, you get to trigger Artist Talent again. Alright, so you get 2 triggers now, which is pretty good. Or, if you need things to discard to the Artist Talent, you could just discard the Mox Opal or Chrome Mox or whatever thing you bounced to the Artist Talent. So it's good in a number of ways here. But we're also playing Quantum Riddler, which helps with the Artist Talent and low, cards in hand count. So Boomerang Basics is another thing that would draw cards with the Quantum Riddler. This card is so good in this deck, and I think it really is the best card in this shell. So when we look at the deck, we have Burning Wish, as I mentioned previously. That's going to grab our win conditions of Tendrils of Agony and Grape Shot. But how we make Storm is typically off of Echo of Aeons or Runehorn Hellkite. We can get those cards using Gamble or Burning Wish for the sideboard copy of Echo of Aeons. But we're really an Echo of Aeons strategy through and through, so finding Lion's Eye Diamond is really important. Because of that, we're playing Urza Saga, okay? But because we're so focused on Echo of Aeons, the discard of Artist Talent is super relevant too, because it takes some of the stress off of Lion's Eye Diamond. Just another feature of this deck. This deck is highly synergistic, and I'm excited today because previously, all of these decks I've played have had Quantum Riddler, but then you were forced to get rid of Stock Up. We're playing both Stock Up and Quantum Riddler today, which is a huge change. I love this deck list, and I truly mean that. In the sideboard, we also get to play a few copies of Spider-Punk, aka Peraza the Swarm is 1, and that's another upgrade with Defense Grid, because now against blue decks you have 6 ways to protect your Echo of Aeons, and you don't have to splash green for something like Veil of Summer. So this deck list just makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you once again to Pizza for submitting it, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, or if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I would love to hear from you, but for now we're going to hop on in to match number 1, and I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicswarm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicswarm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the play with this Epic Gamble Riddler hybrid. I love this hand. Keep. Alright, we're going to lead with Chrome Mox. And we'll imprint the Rite of Flame. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Play the Urza Saga. I have no clue what the opponent's playing, but traditionally, if my memory serves me correctly, they tend to play a lot of blue decks. I'm going to grab the sideboard copy of Echo of Aeons and just pass the turn. Right now, I could spin the Echo of Aeons, but I'm more interested in seeing what they're playing today. And then Urza Saga can make construct tokens if they're a fair blue deck, which it looks like they are. We draw another Echo. Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll play Volcanic Island and we'll pass. They attack with the Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. They get to investigate, which means create a clue. Sure. Underground Sea. And Thoughtseize. You can look at a pair of Echo of Aeons. End step, we will create a construct. They have 5 in hand. We'll draw. Gamble. So this can actually go grab the Runehorn Hellkite, which is pretty interesting. And now the Saga triggers. It looks like it's going to resolve. I'll grab Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play the other Urza Saga. And now we'll attack for 5. Swing. They're at 13. Pass the turn. They sacrifice the clue. Blue to Delta. That's not a wasteland. We draw Rite of Flame. Okay. Saga goes to the second chapter. I think we just attack here. Swing. They block before damage. Let's make another construct. Now they fetch with the polluted Delta or an Undercity Sewers. So they're going to take 6 here. And we'll pass the turn. Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. They did not put the Thoughtseize on top. We'll make another construct token. And we'll grab Pyrite Spellbomb. Okay, go to combat. And our opponent concedes. Nice. Urza Saga got the job done. So before I started recording this league, I had a little bit of a back and forth with the person that submitted this donation deck, Pizza, because they were unsure about Urza Saga versus Ancient Tomb. And I told them while Ancient Tomb is nice for defense grid and stock up, I didn't think that this was a particularly good Ancient Tomb deck outside of that, and I would much rather have Urza Saga define Lion's Eye Diamond in our Echo of Aeons deck, and well, Urza Saga just carried us in game number 1. Alright, so we probably want the Spider Punks, and then I'm going to bring in a couple copies of Boomerang Basics, and we'll board out the Rite of Flames. I don't think that this is a speed-based matchup, so that's my thought process here. And I'm going to keep the Pyrite Spellbomb just for Orcish Bowmasters as a Urza Saga target. Okay, so this hand is a little sketchy. It just doesn't really do enough, and you're really weak to Wasteland and Daze, so I will mulligan. Our opponent kept 7. This hand actually doesn't do anything. I think we have to go to 5, unfortunately. We'll keep this one. Bottom the Burning Wish and bottom the Lotus Petal. I don't love this hand. Spider Punk will play Bloodstained Mire and pass. They play Brainstorm. Underground Sea, so they did not hit a fetch land. End step, we will search our library for the one of Surveil land, Thundering Falls, and we'll Surveil. Keep the Volcanic Island. My fear is getting wasted out of this game, and that's less likely to happen if I keep a land. So, I think whatever spell I play here is probably going to get hit by Daze. Is it best if it's Quantum Riddler? It might be. I think we'll warp the Quantum Riddler. It resolved, okay. Runehorn Hellkite, that's not a bad one, especially if we can get a Lion's Eye Diamond onto the table. Alright, so the Quantum Riddler is now in my exile. They play a Ponder. Undercity Sewers. They get rid of Clarion Conqueror, okay. They must really need blue mana, or I'm sorry, white mana. We find Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play Arid Mesa. I hope they don't have Consign to Memory. Let's play the Diamond. And they do. Okay. Let's play Artist Talent. It resolves, and we'll pass. They play a Stock Up. It's spicy. Now they play Polluted Delta. 6 cards in their hand still. We'll take a draw, which is Defense Grid. Not really a great spot to play it into potentially another Consign to Memory. I'll play the Artist Talent, trigger the other Artist Talent, get rid of the Runehorn Hellkite. We draw Burning Wish. And I think we just passed the turn. They fetch with the Polluted Delta, and there's a Clarion Conqueror. And a Polluted Delta. They have 5 cards in hand. They started to cast a card and then didn't. Interesting. We find Mox Opal. Not really a card I want to play into a Clarion Conqueror. I'm wondering about potentially just leveling up 1 copy of Artist Talent this turn. My fear is if they find a Hydroblast, it's like pretty embarrassing. But it wouldn't make Defense Grid cost 1 mana. Alright, we'll pass. They fetch with Polluted Delta for a Mystic Sanctuary. And they get back the Stock Up. They play the Stock Up. And now they Ponder. And they shuffle. They attack for 3. Ouch. I'm at 15. Echo of Aeon. I think I'm going to level up the other Artist Talent. But I guess I need a red mana for that. This will make the Defense Grid free if I want to try to win that turn. I'll pass the turn. Sort of regret that my Rite of Flames are in the sideboard against this Clarion Conqueror, but I do think it was probably right to board them out. They play a Murktide Regent. They have 7 in hand. We find another Spider Punk. Let's start with Defense Grid. This will trigger Artist Talent twice. Discard Mox Opal and Echo of Aeons. Defense Grid. They Consign to Memory. Let's try another defense grid. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, so the Bowmaster happens. I'll discard the diamond. It doesn't do anything for me. So I take 1. No Veil of Summer. A little bit rough against the Orcish Bowmasters here. Okay. Storm is 4. They have Force of Negation. No response. They have 3 cards left. I go to 9. Maybe I should have kept the diamond and gotten rid of a Spider Punk. Let's Burning Wish. Get rid of a Spider Punk. Okay. I don't think Urza Saga helps me here, so I'll get rid of that as well. Yeah, I think I was supposed to keep the Lion's Eye Diamond. Burning Wish on the stack. Yes. We'll grab Grape Shot, and now we'll cast it. We'll put the Artist Talent triggers on the stack, and then the Grape Shot triggers, so that way I can kill the Bowmasters before I take damage. We'll do 1, 2, 3 at Bowmasters, and then the rest at Clarion Conqueror. Yeah, I think I was supposed to keep the Lion's Eye Diamond. Get rid of Spider Punk. Get rid of Urza's Saga. Another Echo. So they could have Daze in hand, or a Force of Will. I'm trying to think of like how I could possibly win this. I think I have to play the Chrome Mox, because I can't afford to lose to Daze. Discard Echo of Aeons. Discard Gamble. Well, that was a good draw. Alright, we'll imprint the Gamble, play Lion's Eye Diamond. And I could play the Quantum Riddler before I Echo. It's just, is that a good idea? They have 3 in hand. They're thinking about countering this Lion's Eye Diamond. And they do. They Force of Will, exiling Snapcaster Maid. Okay. So I will Echo of Aeons for 1 mana. And I have 1 untapped Chrome Mox. Murktide Region gets a little bit larger. Let's move this Quantum Riddler up. Let's start by playing Lion's Eye Diamond. Trigger the Artist Talents. We'll discard Urza's Saga and a Boomerang Basics. Spider Punk. Now we'll play Mox Opal. Get rid of the Boomerang Basics. I just don't need it here. Get rid of Quantum Riddler. Ooh, Defense Grid, which is free here because of the Artist Talents being leveled up. Discard Chrome Mox. Discard the Wooded Foothills. Actually, no. I'll get rid of the Spider Punk. I just don't see myself paying 2 mana for that in this spot, and Defense Grid resolves. We'll play Stock Up for 1 mana. Discard the Quantum Riddler. The the Grape Shot's in my main deck, but I have Burning Wish and a Tendrils of Agony, so I think we're okay. Stock Up. We'll take Opal Gamble. I guess we'll play the Mox Opal. Discard Wooded Foothills and the Gamble. Keep the new one. Play a Lion's Eye Diamond. Guess we'll discard Burning Wish and Quantum Riddler. And we drew into the Grape Shot anyway. Perfect. Okay, we did it. Even though I think I messed up a little bit by discarding a Lion's Eye Diamond early on, the deck came back. And we win the match. Double leveled up Artist Talent. I don't think I've ever done that before in Legacy, but it was sweet. Alright, well that's how you start a video. We're 1-0. Let's try to get the next one. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2 on the play. This hand does not make mana. We cannot keep it. This hand has a lot of mana. I guess we keep. I'm not excited about it. We'll play the first turn Urza Saga and pass the turn. My game plan here is that Saga gets Lion's Eye Diamond on turn 3, but it appears that I'm just dead. Oh no. I didn't know that we were playing the combo mirror match. Okay. We are dead. I'm not going to let them Cabal Therapy me. We can just go to the next one. Well, we don't need Defense Grid, and then we can bring in Boomerang Basics. And we'll try it again. The downside is I lost game number 1, which means that if I do win game number 2, we're on the draw for game number 3. I don't love that. I wonder on the play if you want the Echo in the main deck, and then we'll board out Pyrite Spellbomb. I think I'm willing to try this. You have less access to Echo through... I guess I didn't do it fast enough because it's still in the sideboard. But you'd have more access to... Well, here it works out because this is a turn 1 Echo. So you'd be more likely to draw LED Echo, but you lose the Burning Wish aspect. We'll keep. They kept 7 as well. We'll fetch. grab Volcanic Island, Rite of Flame, Burning Wish. We'll grab the Echo of Aeons. It all worked out, I guess. Lion's Eye Diamond. And now we'll spin. Give them a new hand. We drew that darn Pyrite Spellbomb. Okay, we'll play the Mox Opal, and unfortunately I have to pass here. So we have to hope that their new hand does not kill me. They play Lotus Petal, untap land. Not feeling good about this. Give me a Spirit Guide, 4 mana, for Rebellious Raid Spy. Okay, I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're the one turn 1 killing people. Sometimes you're the one getting killed on turn 1. Unfortunate. Alright, so we got Goldfished by Oops All Spells. I will say this deck is a little bit slower than the Epic Storm, so the ability to turn 1 as consistently isn't really there. It happens. We're 1-1. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Time to bounce back in match number 3 on the play. Seems okay. I think we'll keep it. We'll play Urza's Saga, trigger, Lotus Petal. Maybe this is me being a coward. I'm going to play Defense Grid. If we draw another red mana, I have Gamble into Echo of Aeons, or Urza's Saga hitting the 3rd chapter gives me that red mana. And now we'll play Lion's Eye Diamond, pass the turn. Like, I just don't see a need to risk losing the game when I could just play it a little bit more slowly. And if I lose to Oops All Spells again, so be it. They play Volcanic Island. Faithless Looting. Okay. What are you playing? Dredge? Reanimator? Legacy Arclight Phoenix? It's Reanimator. Okay. We'll take a draw. Saga goes to the 2nd chapter. We found our red mana, but it's a slow red mana, the only tap land in the deck. I'll play it. We'll surveil away the Quantum Riddler and pass the turn. They play an island, so not a swamp. And they pass the turn. We'll go to our draw step, tap the Saga for mana, go grab another Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play the Mox Opal, and I think I would like to play the Quantum Riddler. So when we Echo, we'll actually draw 8 cards, and then if I continue to draw cards throughout the turn, we'll draw extra, assuming that I get my hand empty. So I think that this just makes more sense to me. And now we'll grab the Echo of Aeons, which will draw 8 cards when we flash it back. Alright, here we go. Storm is 4. They cycle an Oliphant in response to a Time Twister effect. You got it. Sure. I don't think that was the best use of resources, but you do you. Alright, so we'll play the Artist Talent. Now I'll play Rite of Flame. Trigger the Artist Talent. We'll discard Echo of Aeons. Play the Arid Mesa. We'll fetch. Grab a Volcanic Island, play out the Chrome Mox, get rid of the Scalding Tarn. I think I'm going to imprint the 2nd Quantum Riddler, play out the other Chrome Mox, discard a Stock Up, and the Quantum Riddler drew an extra card. We'll imprint Stock Up, play the Chrome Mox, discard the Stock Up, draw 2, no imprint, play the Gamble, discard the Chrome Mox, we'll draw 2, and now we Gamble. Grab a Lion's Eye Diamond. I think I'd like to level up the Artist Talent. And then we'll play Lion's Eye Diamond, discard Artist Talent, draw 2. Into double Diamond. Wow. Let's go. I think I'm going to keep the extra mana here. And now we'll add blue, red, blue. And we'll flash back Echo of Aeons. Once again, this will draw 8 cards. We'll play another Artist Talent. Discard Volcanic Island. I'm not sure how to tell which one is which. Alright, so the top one I want to level up. So now everything will cost 2 less. And this Stock Up is 1 mana. Discard Wooded Foothills. Discard Scalding Tarn. Stock Up. We'll take Rite of Flame, Rite of Flame. Play the first Rite of Flame, discard Echo. Discard Mox Opal. Play another Rite of Flame. Discard Gamble. Discard Runehorn Hellkite. Burning Wish. Discard the Chrome Mox. This is pod racing right here. I love it. And we'll grab the Grape Shot. Target you. No trigger. No trigger. I suppose I could have leveled up the Artist Talents again, and then I could have dealt even more damage. Missed opportunity. Okay, we've taken game number 1 from Demir Reanimator. I'm sorry, Grixis Reanimator. Okay. I think we probably want the Spider Punks. I'm going to try No Pyrite Spellbomb. If I had to take a wild guess, this build is not playing Orcish Bowmasters. And then I'll try boarding out 1 copy of Rite of Flame. Submit. Game number 2 on the draw, I will keep. They play Underground Sea. And Tameo Inquisitive Student. Quantum Riddler. We'll play Chrome Mox. I'm going to imprint the Quantum Riddler here. Fetch. Grab Volcanic Island. And I'm going to try to resolve Spider-Punk. It resolves! I'll give it a +1/+1 counter in case they do actually have the Orcish Bowmasters. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond and I'll pass. So right now it looks like next turn I can Burning Wish for Echo and then spin. Even if they Thoughtseize me, which was the upside of keeping double Burning Wish and not imprinting one. They play a Badlands. Explosives for 0. Ugh! I was not expecting that. That hurts my feelings. Brutal. Okay. No blocks. Well, we drew another. I think I'm going to play it. I didn't learn my lesson. I think they're more likely to have Thoughtseize than Engineered Explosives. We'll attack for 3. I need another mana. They swing, and now they Brainstorm. They play Scalding Tarn, and now they fetch Volcanic Island and a Ponder. They did not shuffle off the Ponder. They kept it. They plus the Tameo Inquisitive Student and a Thoughtseize. Alright, I would like a mana, please. Or even better, just draw one of my Echo of Aeons. They take the Artist Talent. Okay. We'll go to draw. Urza Saga, beautiful. We'll begin by attacking the Tameo Inquisitive Student. I guess it's the Planeswalker side, so Tameo Seasoned Scholar. It will give my Spider-Punk -1/-0, so we'll end up taking 2. And then we'll Burning Wish. And then I'll grab Echo of Aeons. And I think I'd like to spin. Alright, Storm is 2. And I have the protection of Spider-Punk. But here that's not going to be good enough. That was not a very good draw 7. I'll play out the Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. This was a pretty clunky draw. They play land number 4. Faithless Looting. Archon of Cruelty and Atraxa Grand Unifier. I think I've lost this one. Reanimate just wins them the game now. They plus the Tameo. Do you not have it? What's taking so long? Are you saying there's a chance? Animate dead. On the Atraxa, a little bit greedy, but if they hit a reanimate, they'll be fine, and they do. Okay, I've lost it. We can go to game 3. I think I lost the game to the Engineer Explosives, which is probably a 1-of, but it was good enough. Okay, let's try it again. Game number 3 on the play. Think I keep this? Lion's Eye Diamond. Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Rite of Flame, Spider-Punk, and I'll give it the +1/+1 counter. I could play the talent right now. I'd lose Metalcraft, and I'd have nothing to trigger it next turn. I think I'm going to pass. And if you're wondering why I'm not giving the Spider-Punk haste, if they have Orcish Bowmasters, it being a 3/2 does matter, so that's why I'm choosing to do it this way. My fear is if they Thoughtseize me on turn 1, they don't. They play an island. They have Hydroblast. That's not good. Okay. Artist Talent. It resolves. I'll play a Lotus Petal. And then I think I'm going to discard the stock up. We draw Rite of Flame. Pass the turn. They play Polluted Delta. And now they fetch. Underground Sea. Tameo Inquisitive Student. Brainstorm. Okay. So next turn, they'll be able to downtick the Tameo and return Hydroblast to kill my Artist Talent. We're in trouble. Well, that was pretty good. We'll play Rite of Flame. This makes 3 red mana. And then we'll gamble. Assuming this resolves, I can go get Runehorn Hellkite, which can't be countered. So I'll grab the Runehorn Hellkite, because there's a chance that our opponent is just planning on countering the Echo of Aeons. I don't want to give them that luxury. So I will Runehorn Hellkite here. They're pausing. They did not have a force. I'll play Bloodstained Mire. Play Chrome Mox. This will trigger the Artist Talent. Discard Echo of Aeons. Wow, we drew a diamond. That's insane. Imprint Artist Talent. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Trigger. Discard Burning Wish. I think I'm going to attempt a Defense Grid. Volcanic Island. Defense Grid. Trigger the Artist Talent. I'll discard the Quantum Riddler. They Force of Will. Okay. They have 5 in hand. Let's flashback Echo of Aeons. Hopefully it resolves. And it does. Okay. We'll play another Lion's Eye Diamond. Trigger the Artist Talent. Discard Volcanic Island. I'm trying to hide the Echo so that way they're not inclined to counter the Diamond. Play Mox Opal. And now I can start discarding Echoes. Drew a land. Don't love that. Play Chrome Mox. Discard Thundering Falls. I think I'm actually going to imprint this Echo because I have Burning Wish into Tendrils of Agony here, which is lethal. And then if they counter the Burning Wish, I can flash back the Echo of Aeons that's already in the graveyard. I will play Burning Wish. I guess I can filter this Spider-Punk here. And then I'll add 3 black. Burning Wish on the stack, it resolves. Grab Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Nice. I did not think... After the Spider-Punk was Hydroblasted, I did not think we were going to win this, but Artist Talent looking fairly resilient right now. And I believe that puts us at 2-1. Pretty exciting. Let's go get the next 2. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. Round 4, on the draw, I will keep. Not sure what our opponent is playing. Basic Island? Delver of Secrets, so likely Izzet Delver. Pyrite Spellbomb, that can kill Delver of Secrets, but we'll play the Thundering Falls to start. Surveil Burning Wish to the graveyard, pass the turn. Delver of Secrets does not transform. They have a Wasteland, I don't love that. Goodbye Thundering Falls. And now they swing. 5 cards in their hand. Lion's Eye Diamond was a good draw. Let's play the Lion's Eye Diamond, see if it resolves. We'll play Chrome Mox, imprint the Rite of Flame, and then Mox Opal. Let's try Artist Talent. That resolves and we'll pass. They flip the Delver to Brainstorm. And now I'll take 3, I go down to 16. And they cast it. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. Mishra's Bauble. They can now Surveil away one of the cards that they put back on top, which was a Lightning Bolt. And now they use the Mishra's Bauble. And Steppo Fetch. We only have the 1 Surveil land, and unfortunately I drew it in my opening hand. So they'll draw off the Mishra's Bauble, level up the Artist Talent. This will save us mana later on. And then let's play the Pyrite Spellbomb, which will trigger the Artist Talent. Discard the other Artist Talent. And then I'll play Volcanic Island. Just looking to buy some time here, I think. I could also draw a card with the Pyrite Spellbomb. I'm not sure if that would be better or worse. They play Ponder. This will give them Delirium. They Surveil away Daze. So if I take 6, I go to 9. I think I'm going to kill the Delver Secrets here just to slow down the game a little bit. So I'll take 3, I go down to 12. And they pass. We'll play Burning Wish. Trigger the Artist Talent. Discard Rite of Flame. Echo's a good draw. And they Force Will pitching Daze. Prevails away Wasteland. I'll make a blue with the Mox Opal. And I think here I'd like to flashback Echo. If they have double Force of Will, it's unfortunate, but I think that this is a good spot to try to shove. They're paying costs. I don't like to see that. They Lightning Bolt me in response. Okay. I'll go to 9. Echo on the stack with 4 available mana. That's a pretty good sign for me. Defense Grid for 1 mana. Discard Echo of Aeons. Defense Grid on the stack. Play Force of Will. Play another Defense Grid. Discard the Runehorn Hellkite. Our good friend Pyrite Spellbomb's back. I'll play Gamble. Discard Pyrite Spellbomb. And I'd like to go search out another Lion's Eye Diamond. When we win the flip, I'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Discard the Gamble. Burning Wish is lethal here, because I can just grab the sideboard Tendrils of Agony. Play the Lotus Petal. And then Burning Wish. Trigger, I'll add 3 black. And we'll grab Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Nice. Okay, so we stole game number 1. So in the video that I recorded yesterday, which was the Rakdos Relay Echo deck, I really didn't like Spider-Punk versus Izzet Delver. So I'm going to try something a little bit different here, and I'm not going to bring it in. What I will bring in is the Boomerang Basics in order to beat Nullrod. We'll take out Pyrite Spellbomb, and I think I want more copies of Boomerang Basics. It can also bounce Delvers and stuff just to slow down the game. But the question is, what would I board out? I'd also just try boarding out all of the Rite of Flames versus the Daze deck. If I board out all the Rite of Flames, I could try the Spider Punks, but that might be a bad idea. Rite of Flame is also good versus Null Rod, so I'm not sure if I want to remove it. I think I'll actually try boarding out Quantum Riddler. I don't think that it's particularly good in this matchup, so we'll give this a shake. Boarding down to just 2 Quantum Riddlers. I'm sure I upset somebody just now. They're like, that's the best card in the deck, you can't remove it. And it might be, but it's also kind of slow and clunky. We'll try this. Volcanic Island, Delver of Secrets. We'll play Thundering Falls, Surveil Away Burning Wish, and we'll pass. Delver does not transform. Looted Delta, Dragon's Rage Channeler. They search out Volcanic Island, and another Channeler. They have an aggro start here. Okay. Quantum Riddler. I'll play Urza Saga. And I think I'll just draw a card here with the Quantum Riddler. It resolves. We draw a Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. In their upkeep, they're thinking about casting a card here, and they do Brainstorm. So they get to Surveil twice. Gets rid of a 3rd Dragon's Rage Channeler. They're pretty close to attacking me for 9 this turn. Because they have Land, Creature, Instant. And now Delver. They reveal Preordain. That will give them Delirium. Okay, so I will be taking 9 this turn. That will put me to 10. So they only need 1 damage to kill me next turn. And I'm not ready to win at the moment, so that's kind of scary. Preordain. They kept both cards on top. Yeah, I'm in trouble. Saga goes to the 2nd chapter. We draw Chrome Mox, so yikes. Play another Urza Saga. Play Lotus Petal. This way I could theoretically pay for double days. And Defense Grid. They Force of Will, exiling Brainstorm. 2 cards remain in their hand. Gets rid of an Abrade. And they Surveil Blue Elemental Blast to the graveyard. That's kind of surprising to me. I thought that'd be a card they would keep. We'll pass. So right now, if they don't do anything else, I go to 1 life. 3 cards in their hand. I'm at 1. We draw an Artist Talent. I don't know if that's going to be good enough here. But we'll make some mana. Trigger the Saga. We'll probably go grab Lion's Eye Diamond. They have 3 cards in their hand. I'll attempt an Artist Talent. Maybe they already have another Blue Elemental Blast in their hand, but this increases my chances of winning, so I'm going to play it. And then I'll play Mox Opal, trigger the Artist Talent, convert the Scalding Tarn into something useful. So as of right now, if I play the Defense Grid, I am a mana short of casting Stock Up. So I'd play like Saga and then play Defense Grid, and I'd have to spike off of the Artist Talent trigger. I think there's a real chance that they're holding like Red Elemental Blast. I suppose I could just tap the Opal and maybe loot away the Urza Saga? I don't know. The Urza Saga is a guaranteed mana, so I think I'll get rid of the Chrome. And I hit Gamble, which was an amazing find. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. They have 1 card. I'll play Urza Saga, and we'll gamble. Discard the Stock Up. Gamble on the stack. Grab Echo of Aeons. Alright. I can't beat Red Elemental Blast, so we're not going to try. Echo of Aeons at 1 life. This gives me a chance as long as they don't have Lightning Bolt. We'll play Lotus Petal. Discard Wooded Foothills. Try a Lion's Eye Diamond. Get rid of the Chrome Mox. We'll play another Lotus Petal. Get rid of Rite of Flame. Play another Lion's Eye Diamond. Get rid of Stock Up. Try a Gamble here. Get rid of Boomerang Basics. And I think I'm supposed to grab a Runehorn Hellkite. Okay. I am going to activate the Runehorn Hellkite here. This doesn't use the stack, so they cannot counter it. Unless they have a Stifle. They had Force of Will, Consign to Memory, and Meltdown. I'll play a Rite of Flame. Discard Volcanic Island. I don't want them to see the Echo of Aeons. They have Blue Elemental Blast. Unfortunate. Okay. Oh, they're going after Artist Talent. I missed that. Rite of Flame. Okay. I'll try a Defense Grid. This will leave me with 1 red floating. Would really like it if that resolved. It did not. Okay. Play Chrome Mox. I think I have to imprint the Echo here. Play Mox Opal. And Stock Up. I'm really hoping to hit Grape Shot. That is what I want. And apparently my draw 7 gave them double force Blue Blast. So that's going to beat me. Okay. We were close, but we didn't get there. I needed a slightly better 7. Let's see if we would have hit the Grape Shot. There was only 1 in the deck, so pretty unlikely. And the Stock Up would not have been good enough. I guess the Boomerang Basics could have cycled into Grape Shot. Nope. Okay. Try it again. Game 3 on the play. Need a little bit more mana. We have to mulligan. How badly do we want to lose to Meltdown? That's the question here. Bottom stock up. If they keep a hand that's all interaction, the Saga could go the distance. That's sort of what I'm hoping for here. We'll begin by casting Chrome Mox, imprint the Burning Wish, play Urza Saga, and Artist Talent. Play Chrome Mox, trigger, no, Chrome Mox, imprint Quantum Riddler. We are hoping for no Meltdown. Volcanic Island, no. Oh, brutal. Why do you have to be like that? Come on. Saga goes to the second chapter. We have to pass. Brutal. They play Dragon's Rage Channeler into Mishra's Bauble. So there's a world in which we can win this. I mean, it's not likely, but Saga gets to go grab Lion's Eye Diamond. I draw into an Echo of Aeons or a Gamble. Like, it's theoretically possible. They have 4 cards in their hand. We draw a Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay. We'll grab another. Play the Lotus Petal. And unfortunately, I think I have to loot away this Lion's Eye Diamond. Boomerang Basics. Not a card I really want here. Not that Pirate Spellbomb would have been any better. We'll pass. They fetch with Polluted Delta. Surveils away Delver of Secrets. They have Delirium. 5 cards in their hand. Preordain. And Ponder. Thundering Falls. Okay. Surveil. I don't need another Artist Talent that can go away. And we'll pass the turn. They play Volcanic Island. Still 5 cards in their hand. Blue Elemental Blast on the Artist Talent. Yeah. I will say this, one of the bigger downsides of this deck is that both of the blasts are just absolutely devastating versus the blue-red Storm combo deck. We draw a Chrome Mox. I think I'm going to try to cycle the Boomerang Basics. Target my Lotus Petal. Well, we hit an Echo. Question is, will it resolve? And I don't think waiting versus this deck is the right move. So I'm going to attempt to spin. And if it gets countered, I think we're going to go to match number 5. Alright, so here goes nothing. Echo of Aeons. Storm is 4. They daze. Sure. I'll pay for it. Echo back on the stack. Another daze. Okay. Unfortunate. So we are now 2-2 with 1 match left to go. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. On the play in match number 5, the final round. This could be a turn 1 stock up. I think we keep that. So I will say this. Boomerang Basics is best versus non-blue decks. We faced nothing but blue this entire league. So, not really a great showcasing for Boomerang Basics, but I still think it's a card that I'm interested in playing. So we'll play the Chrome Mox, cast the Rite of Flame, Bloodstained Mire, and now we'll fetch a Volcanic Island and play the stock up. Ideally, I find Lion's Eye Diamond, which allows me to spin the wheel on a turn 1 Echo of Aeon. I don't find it. I do find Echo of Aeons itself, and I think I want the Rite of Flame. Okay, and then I'll pass the turn. Okay, I guess we didn't face all blue decks. We faced Oops All Spells, where Boomerang Basics isn't super relevant. They search out a Bayou into Thoughtseize. This does seem like a decent Boomerang Basics matchup. They take the gamble, surprise, surprise. And Rite of Flame. I am a mana short of casting it, so we'll play out the Mox Opal and pass the turn. Any artifact off the top would allow me to hardcast the Echo of Aeons. They play a Wasteland, so that sets me back. Lotus Petal or Lion's Eye Diamond are the draws we want. Urza's Saga, we'll play it. Another Wasteland. Okay, sure. We'll draw another Urza's Saga, I suppose. Let's do it again. Do you have a third Wasteland? Verdant Catacombs. Our opponent fetches out another Bayou. Life from the Loam. Okay. We draw another Mox Opal that doesn't do me any good here. Or actually does it. I think it does. Okay, so I can Rite of Flame. This makes 3. Make a construct with 1 red floating. Rite of Flame makes 4. I can hardcast Echo. So we'll Rite of Flame. Make a construct. Rite of Flame again for 4 red. Make a blue. Play the Mox Opal. And hardcast Echo. Okay. And now we'll play the Arid Mesa. And I think I'll pass. If they want to Thoughtseize me and take the gamble, I'm okay with that. I don't need to spin Echo with no mana floating. I'd rather set up to convert into a win next turn. They have Wasteland. Ouch. We will fetch, grab the Thundering Falls, keep the Rite of Flame, I think. And then I'm going to play Defense Grid. This pumps up the construct, but it also protects me from Orcish Bowmasters. And here it is. So now I don't have to play into Bowmasters, and next turn I can Burning Wish into Grapeshot and kill it. I'll play Artist Talent and attack for 4. They're at 12. Another Orcish Bowmasters, okay. So now I'm at 16. They play Verdant Catacombs, and they swing for 3. Ouch. Draw Quantum Riddler. I will level up the Artist Talent here. And then Rite of Flame Burning Wish Grapeshot deals 3. So they'll end up keeping the Orc army, but I don't think I care. I am not going to trigger the Artist Talent. Burning Wish. No trigger. And now we'll grab the Grapeshot. Target one of the Orcish Bowmasters. We'll put the Artist Talent trigger underneath. I guess actually it doesn't matter. Unless I... Okay, I could do the trigger if I killed the same Orc here instead of dealing them 1. Okay, so I guess I get my trigger this way. I guess I should auto-yield to that too. Discard the Quantum Riddler, and I draw another. I attack them with a Construct. They fetch with Verdant Catacombs for Underground Mortuary. Prevails away a Malevolent Rumble. They play a Hatchery and a Rumble, which reveals Mox Diamond Swamp, Nile Spellbomb, and Fatal Push. So if they take the Spellbomb, which they do, they can exile the Echo in the graveyard, but I'm not actually concerned with that because I have Burning Wish for the sideboard one. So I think we're just in great shape here. They kill my Artist Talent. Okay. And now they play the Nile Spellbomb, and they use it. They're thinking about attacking, and they decide not against it. Lotus Petal. So if I still had the Artist Talent, that would have given me enough mana to Burning Wish into the sideboard tendrils. As of right now, I'm 1 short. I would like to warp the Quantum Riddler, I think. Draw a card. We'll play the Volcanic and Burning Wish. This seems like a fun time to use Boomerang Basics. Bounce the Orc army and get in there for 5. The Quantum Riddler will go away. My opponent plays a Witherbloom Command, destroying my Chrome Mox, and now a Wasteland and a Barrogoyf. Okay. We'll take a draw. It's a gamble. So Burning Wish for Boomerang Basics does win the game. I could also just Echo of Aeons. Well, I guess that's not true. Because if I get Echo, I could discard the gamble and then I get stranded in my hand. Ooh, I could gamble for Pyrite Spellbomb because they're at 2. I'm into that. Oh my. Pyrite Spellbomb for the win. Target you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Pyrite Spellbomb is too good. I mean, winning with Boomerang Basics also would have been really cool, but the Pyrite Spellbomb, I think, is slightly cooler. Alright, so we'll bring in Boomerang Basics because they're likely to have Leyline of the Void, and we'll get rid of our defense grids that aren't super useful. We'll try this out. Game number 2 on the draw. So this one is obviously not a very good hand, but we're facing a deck with a lot of discard, land destruction, artifact destruction. I kind of want to keep it. I know that it's crazy, but I think every piece of cardboard matters versus the deck we're facing. They have a turn 1 Mox Diamond, discarding Basic Swamp. There's a Saga. Turn 1 Void Mirror. Okay, well that just countered 3 cards in my hand. We'll play Thundering Falls, Surveil, get rid of the Lotus Petal, and we'll pass the turn. There's a Saga goes to the 2nd chapter. Burning Catacombs, so they can make a Construct token. Burning Wish, so this can get Shattering Spree to kill the Void Mirror. We'll play the Rite of Flame, play the Burning Wish. Yes. Select the Shattering Spree, and then target the Void Mirror. So I could play out Diamond and Lotus Petal and all that stuff, but they haven't played a discard spell yet, which tells me they probably don't have one. So they could draw one, but I think it's more likely they have Beseiju or Witherbloom Command, so I'm going to just pass the turn. They fetch with Verdant Catacombs for a Bayou. They make a Construct, and now another Construct. Let's see what they grab off of the Urza's Saga. Also, it's probably better to hold the artifacts in case I draw Artist Talent. That's another true thing. They grab a Nile Spellbomb. I don't think I care. Mox Diamond. I do care about another artifact entering, though. They discard a Beseiju. So they're attacking for 5 this turn, which would put me to 15. They have 1 card remaining. So I do need to draw something quickly. They Life from the Loam back, Beseiju, Urza's Saga, and a Verdant Catacombs. So I'll go to 15, draw for turn, gamble. So that allows me to echo here. We'll play Lotus Petal, Mox Opal. We'll fetch with the Verdant Catacombs. There's no real benefit to holding it in play. We'll play the Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll make a red, play another Mox Opal, tap this one for red, and then we'll gamble. Grab the Echo of Aeons, make 3 blue, and we'll flash back. They could now Spellbomb, but it looks like they're not going to. We'll play Artist Talent, and now Rite of Flame. Trigger the Artist Talent, discard the Bloodstained Mire. We draw Lion's Eye Diamond, huge draw here. We'll play it. Discard Volcanic Island. We hit an Echo. I think I'm supposed to just spin the Echo. I realize that I could Shattering Spree, I just don't think it's a good idea. And I don't want to level up the Artist Talent because I don't want them to force a Vigor and I waste 3 mana. Alright, Echo on the stack. Storm is 10. Okay, I think we've got it. Play Lotus Petal. Discard the Urza's Saga. Play Mox Opal. Discard Chrome Mox. Keep the new one. And now I can do what I talked about in the deck tech, which is Boomerang Basics your own Mox Opal. This triggers the Artist Talent. Discard Chrome Mox. And now you can pick up the Opal and then play it again and get the trigger. And then we'll discard the card we drew off of Boomerang Basics. So this flexibility is why it's so much better than like an Into the Flood Maw or Chain of Vapor in this deck. We'll play the Mox Opal. Storm is 15. Only a couple more spells before Grape Shot's lethal. Discard the Artist Talent. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Discard Artist Talent. Stock up, okay. And now we play the Burning Wish. And if I have enough mana to Grape Shot Burning Wish Tendrils in case they have a Mindbreak Trap. Say yes. Grab the Grape Shot. Target you. And they concede. Nice. So we went 3-2. Not a bad record. Here we are. Our 3-2, trophy, whatever. Trophy's not the right word, but winnings. What did I think of the deck? It's fine. I did like some of the changes. I like having Stock Up and Quantum Riddler. I still wonder if Quantum Riddler is right. I know that, when you win, you get to go ridiculous. You get to draw through your entire library multiple times, which is really fun. I question if it's necessary. Would the deck be fine without it? Because it never feels like it's a card you actually need. It feels like a card that allows you to go bananas, but do you need to go bananas or can you just win without it? And I kind of feel like you might be able to win without it. Just a hunch, I could be wrong. But having Stock Up in the deck was nice again. Artist Talent is strong. Really, I like the shell of the deck. It's just, you're really weak to blue decks, which we faced a lot of today, and we were only playing 4 defense grid in the main. And Spider-Punk isn't good versus the best tempo deck in the format, which is a concern of mine. Do with that what you will, but thank you to Pizza for the donation deck. If you have any ideas for Pizza on how to improve this deck, put those in the comment section down below. Help us all build a better Artist Talent Epic Gamble hybrid. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.